Hi there. Welcome to your Love Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode today. If you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, please do so now. Your support is so greatly appreciated. So today I am pleased to welcome Dr. Nicole Montero to this podcast episode. Dr. Nicole is a licensed psychologist, certified life coach, professor, published author, and owner of the Center for Healing and Development. Dr. Nicole helps women worldwide achieve transformation and healing through her masterclasses, wellness retreats, and group coaching programs. Her most recent book is called The Boundaries to Bliss Blueprint for Women Who Are Finally Ready to Win at Love. Listen to Dr. Nicole as she shares her wisdom. Hi, Dr. Nicole. Welcome to your Love Talk.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here as well. So I actually met you on the podcast training program that I'm involved in. And thank you so much for deciding you want to be a part of this podcast as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that community. So it was
It is
great to
amazing
meet you.
community. So tell us, Dr. Nicole, a little bit about what you do.
So I'm a licensed psychologist and a certified life coach, and a tenured professor. But to sum it all up, I really help women to tap into their inner power. And whether that's through if they see me as a therapist or they're in one of my coaching programs, or even with my students, I try to mentor them to really be able to overcome things that may be challenges to them by tapping into their inner power, who they are, their resilience. So I really see myself as someone that helps people to become their best selves despite anything that they've been through.
I love that. And, your Love Talk is about getting through adversity, getting to the other side, and realizing that you are not alone.
Yes.
So tell me, what made you get into this particular field, even as a psychologist and the work that you're doing now?
Well, it's ever since I was a little girl. It's funny, I just made a post about how it took me a long time to realize that being very sensitive and empathetic was a superpower,
Hmm.
because most of my life it was like, oh, you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too that. And it was really hard for me because that was just who I was. Like I could perceive things and just really be in tune with other people, even from a young age.
Hmm.
But for a long time, it felt like a burden, but it also felt like something that really interested me. Like I just from a high school class in psychology and meeting mentors in undergrad, I just was like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I want to do. I'm interested in like human beings and all that stuff, science, but also melding it with just that part of me that just was very sensitive and was told for so long that oh, it's to this, it's to that.
Yeah.
And then finally realizing, wait, there's a career path where this is the very thing that helps people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being able to listen and like tune into the smallest details when a lot of times people gloss over those things. So that was part of it. That was my adversity, is like getting over that hang up for myself.
I like that. And many people do see, well, we'll say to people, oh, you're too sensitive, you toughen up or don't be so emotional, right? However, I love how you said it's a super power for you because, being able to listen to others and help them through whatever it is that they're going through is something that not everybody has that kind of skills.
Yeah,
I
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
So what made you decide to focus on especially women?
Well, women would be attracted to me. Now, I'll say this, I have a lot of male clients and I see people in couples work as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
But I don't know, women, I'm a woman, so I can really speak personally to what we may go through, especially when it comes to things like trying to shrink ourselves, or not having the right boundaries, or just, people pleasing, all of those things that I saw a lot in patterns in my clients.
Mhm.
And, women would naturally just, the more I would talk about those things, they would gravitate towards me. Now, it's not that men don't experience any kind of issues with boundaries and all of those things, their own traumas, but the way that I spoke about it, it seemed like a lot of women would just, it resonated. So I was like, okay, this is something that a lot of women struggle with. Boundaries, trying to please everybody, trying to be everything to everybody. And so it just evolved from there.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing for women. We sort of naturally want to make sure that our families are okay,
Hmm.
spouses, if you're married, a relationship is good, your partner or your children are okay. And oftentimes we leave ourselves out,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah. And it's also difficult to know where those boundaries lie. And so being able to take care of yourself is such a critical thing. So, what have you seen in working with these women, and how have you helped them to overcome some of these boundary issues to get to the other side?
I think one of the things is like letting women, like you said, know that it's okay to take time for yourself. It doesn't mean you're neglecting, your family or all of the other people that you care about, but it's really giving them permission to allow other people to step up. So a lot of times women, we feel like we have to, be the one that's doing it for everybody. But a lot of those people can do some stuff for themselves too, whether it's our children, our spouse, our other family members, even our friends. Sometimes we get into a role like we're the whatever, the strong friend, the listener, the one who does this and that. And part of it is just helping women to give themselves permission to step out of those roles and let other people do stuff for them or step up for themselves.
Yeah, I like that. So, Dr. Nicole, did you go through just dealing with boundary issues in your own life and had to sort
Yes,
of navigate through that? Can you talk a little bit about that?
absolutely. That's why it's both professional, but it's personal.
Yeah.
Just always being like, again, it's that double-edged sword, always being able to kind of like absorb and perceive other people's emotions. A lot of times I felt responsible for other people. So I tried to not upset people and to like, if I knew somebody, because I was like so in tune to what they were going through. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh no, I can't be the one. I don't want to be the bad guy to like, so I had to separate out understanding what people were going through from feeling responsible for fixing things for them. So that has been a lifelong journey. It's something, I'm so delved into the boundaries work because I know it personally.
Yeah.
And then knowing that just through each phase of your life, like as a wife, you have to have boundaries. As a mother, you have to have boundaries. These are things I had to learn as I experienced each of those things. So yeah, it is absolutely personal.
Yeah.
It's learning. I had to learn how to disappoint people, how to just let people step up for themselves versus me having to step up for them.
Yeah, and that could be so hard. I know that I struggle with that as a mom. you know,
Yes.
especially a mom of a teenager and trying to allow her to, fall because we want to
Hmm.
protect. We want to make sure, that, they're going to be okay, that they don't do anything that, is going to
Messes it
be
up for them.
detrimental. Yeah. you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
so it is really difficult. What helped you to get to this place where you're able to say, okay, this is how I navigated this to in my life and how I can help other people?
Well, I think it just like I've been through my own therapy and coaching and inner work and retreats. Like I've always just been into personal development.
Hmm.
First of all, for myself, but secondly, I was like, how am I going to help other people if I'm not aware of myself and, all of these things? So I actually talk about this in one of my workshops, Banish Burnout and Build Bliss, the journey I went through and my own work with, my own just inner work and developing a framework of the things that I saw that I needed to work on that helped me. And then I just developed a framework and started using it with women. And they were like, oh my God. It was like literally step by step. First you do this, first you do that. This is what you need to focus on. And they were like, oh my God, this is so helpful because I don't feel like I'm just out in the dark, by myself trying to navigate this. So part of the issue is women will get to a point where they know they need to change,
Hmm.
but how to do that. And so, that's something that I just put into place is like, these are the steps. This is the structured way you can get from point A with no boundaries, trying to please everybody, feeling burnt out and overwhelmed to point B where you can use your experiences to be the best version of yourself.
Great. So can you give us a couple of those steps for our audience to hear?
Yes. So I'm not going to tell everything,
That's
right? You got to
fine.
get
I know
into the
you've got
program. But
just a
yes,
couple of them.
first and foremost, it's a mindset shift.
Mhm.
So much of how we've been socialized is to please, is to serve, is to nurture. And those are beautiful things. That's part of who we are, particularly as women. It's beautiful. But part of it is giving ourselves, the first step is the mindset shift of giving yourself permission to center yourself and to know that that is not selfish, that it is not taking away, it's actually giving more to the people you care about. If you're in a relationship, taking time to center yourself makes you show up as your best self. You can listen better. You can be more clear about what your needs are. You can communicate better. So it's starting from like the baby steps of changing the mindset of being this do all superwoman to let me center myself and what I need. And from there, I can better do the things I love, which is to nurture others. So it's like, not putting yourself last, but putting yourself first.
So the centering then is trying to figure out then what you need to be okay as a woman.
Yes.
Okay.
And being able specifically to say no to the things that don't align with that. So it's like literally you have to have a vision. And the things that don't align with that vision have to be put to the wayside, either totally scrapped from the table, or that'll be done later. But being okay with saying no and knowing that no matter how old you are. I had a woman who was 70 years old in one of my programs. And she was like, I thought it was too late. I said, it's never too late to start saying no, to start having a vision for your life going forward, and to start doing the things that fit with that vision. So if that means telling somebody, a friend, a family member, even a spouse, that you can't do something, then that's what it means. And it doesn't matter if they're going to say, you're changing. What? You used to always do that. What? Why you're acting new? Like, yes, I am acting new because I'm creating a new version of myself that is going to be better.
I love that. So that's one step. Was there one other step you're going to give us?
Yes. So it's learning tools to cope with stress day to day. Because I think some people are under the illusion that you can just create a life where there's no stress, there's no adversity, as you say, no roadblocks. That just that's not reality.
Doesn't exist.
Life is going to life, right?
Yeah.
Life is going to life. And I think a lot of times we don't have the tools to be able to manage that stress with grace. We can get overwhelmed. Sometimes we shut down. We don't tell anybody we need help. So I really go through a whole sort of repertoire or set of tools that women can use to help them cope with small stresses, bigger ones, whether it's meditation, whether it's, I have a whole framework of body movement and things that you eat, as well as, communication and journaling. So it's really not fighting against stress, but learning how the tools to better cope with it. And I always say stress is a perception. So if you can change your perception about this thing that is like happening in life, then you're going to change how it affects you.
I like that, because really, if you change that mindset about the stress that you're going through, then how you react to it is not going to be the same.
Yes. We tend to take a lot of things so personally and get all up in a tizzy about things. And again,
that's me.
And I get it, right? But we have to kind of put it in its perspective.
Yeah.
As to what it means.
Yeah, I like that. So is your work done as a group or individually?
So both. I do, some women just want to work individually, and I do a very kind of personalized high ticket, I call it coaching, boutique coaching with them, where we meet regularly. We have a very individualized based on what their goals are in different areas of their life. But I also have a community called the Boundaries to Bliss Society. And it's a community of women. They get recorded lessons from me that work on each of the individual steps from my framework. They also get live coaching. So we meet twice monthly and we all get together and we, kind of coach women through their specific issues. There's also an online aspect to the community. So some women really love that because they love
Yeah.
hearing, as you said earlier, like you're not alone. And
Yes.
sometimes people need to understand that these struggles, that you're not alone. Other women absolutely have these struggles.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that.
Hmm.
And so you've also written a book, is that correct? Can you talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
Yeah. So I have I have three books. One is a
Okay, wow.
travel book and one is a cookbook that goes with my travel book. But so I like those things too, and people ask me about them and I
Yeah.
share them. But also my book is called, the book that relates to women and relationships and boundaries is The Boundaries to Bliss Blueprint for
Hmm.
Women Who Are Finally Ready to Win at Love. And
Hmm.
so it intertwines how the lack of boundaries and self-love and self-care impact our relationships. That was another pattern I saw, is that the women that had the most to offer and the most, they should be winning at love, but they were tiring themselves out, overworking, people pleasing, and they were getting the opposite results of what they expected. So I just talk a lot about boundaries, self-love, communication, ways to help you to like fully develop as this relationship, healthy relationship magnet, whether you're in a relationship or you're trying to attract one.
I love that. So have you
Mhm.
seen really good success with women finding love after they've done the boundary work?
Yes, because they stop picking the wrong people, first of all. That's
Mm.
number one. You can't
That
have
makes
a good
sense.
relationship with the wrong person.
Yeah.
And then they start to identify red flags and green flags, which I talk about in the book. And then once they have weeded out, like, okay, these are not the people I need to deal with, they get someone that they feel they can work on something with. And then they have the tools, how to communicate, how to not shut down, how to say what you need, a lot of women do the most. And actually, men like to do for you. Healthy men like to do for you. So we teach them how to just simmer down a little bit, settle down, let him do for you, and it ends up being more of a win-win situation. So and a lot of women, especially with the individual coaching, if they some women are like, look, I'm in dire straits, I am about to lose my marriage, I'm about to lose this good man, I'm about to lose myself,
Yeah.
I need your help. And we really are able to get at the root of why they're kind of overdoing it, over functioning in their relationship, I call it, and what boundaries they need, what communication skills they need, and then how to make it better. Some people want to get out of a bad relationship. Some people want to attract a healthy relationship. And some people don't want to lose a good relationship.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Hmm.
I like that. It reminds me, you mentioned the red flags and green flags.
Uh-huh.
And I just wrote a book last year called
Ooh.
Mended, Healing the Heart of a Broken Relationship. And we
Mm.
talked about red flags and these green flags and being aware
Yes.
of what they are and really working through the healing process. I like how you do provide counseling and also do you provide coaching. Can you
Hmm.
talk about the difference between the two?
Yes. So with coaching, we're not so much, we try to get at the root of things, but it's not so much going to the past and reliving the past. Is really focusing on a specific goal. And for most of the women, it's around some aspect of relationships in their life and specific goals as to how they can achieve a specific outcome, whether it's communication, whether it's practicing healthier self-care, whether it's leaning into their feminine energy and just relaxing more. And so we really identify really clear cut goals, what strategies they need to reach those goals. And I'm much more active, whereas with therapy, a lot of my therapy is centered around helping people move through trauma. And so it can be a different process, and it's less me being active, but really giving a space for them to, some people have never had a space to explore things that happened to them that shouldn't have happened, traumatic things. And so it's really kind of a different process. But the coaching is about some really like targeted specific goals and getting there in a specific time frame.
Mm. Thank you for explaining the difference.
Hmm.
'Cause a lot of people
Yeah.
don't always know or understand what those differences are. And I
Hmm.
will mention that, people go through different traumas in their lives, and it doesn't have to be anything major. It could just be
Yes.
something small that, but for them is traumatic. And, if you don't deal with it, then it will resurface in relationships, but I like the
Absolutely.
coaching piece because there are times you've done all that work. However, you might be stuck
Hmm.
and you're not exactly sure, but you need some help and support in how to navigate whatever it is that you're going through. And so being able to get a good coach makes a big difference.
Yeah, like some of my individual coaching clients, we're on, the different apps. One that we use is Voxer. It's like a walkie-talkie, but it could be any app. And they'll because they have access to me, to reach out to me. They're like, oh my God, all right, he said this. I'm about to flip my lid. Like I'm about to just go off.
Yeah.
Please tell me I don't want to. What can I say? Like, and I'll like write back, all right. Remember, these are the tools that we said. Is it worth it? This is your decision time. Do you
Yeah.
do this or do you do that? So, like, I can walk them through specific scenarios where they see the pattern, like, they know the pattern is they just go from 0 to 10 real quickly, start arguing, but they want to know in the moment, all right, how can I interrupt this pattern and not do that?
So is that your specific app that you created or something that
No,
people
I
could use?
use it's one called Voxer where
Okay.
you can
Never heard of
just
that
talk,
one.
but it could be anything WhatsApp. I like Voxer because you can literally just press the voice thing
Yeah.
and say something and you can hear the person's message immediately. So it's
Got it.
almost like a phone call, but not
Yeah.
quite. Where
Okay.
some of the other ones, but there's all kinds, but that is the one that my clients and I like. And it's like, they'll be like, all right, Voxer emergency. I need you to walk me through this. This is what happened. I'll listen and I'll go back and say, okay, this is, these are the 1, 2, 3 steps. Remember, we talked about these tools and, so on and so forth.
So are most of the clients focused on their romantic relationship, or is it more parent-child relationship, or is it just whatever relationships that they are struggling with?
Mostly romantic relationships. That is where I have found the most struggles. Now, of course, those conflicts or struggles are also existing oftentimes in other relationships that
Sure.
they have, but
Hmm.
it's that is the main one that they're like, no, please, I'm about to tear my hair out.
Sounds good.
Please help me.
I know, that's good. So, Dr. Nicole, what are some of the lessons that you've learned in doing the work with people?
I've learned that sometimes we have to I love humor is like the best medicine. And so sometimes I have had to help women to see the humor or something light in situations that feel really heavy.
Hmm.
And that is a way, sometimes we have to step back and step out of ourselves so that we don't take everything so heavy and so seriously.
Yeah.
Because I think that sometimes we get bogged down by like this sense of overwhelm and over obligation and like just so much. So I use a bit of like, I had to use that for myself, my own healing.
Yeah.
And I have found that like women really, really like it. The other thing though is like on a more serious note is just helping women to reclaim their right to have needs. We are so used to just burying our needs and
Yeah.
everyone else's come first. And that's how you're a good girl and good woman and this and that. And like being able to recognize that your needs are important, they're
Yeah.
valid, and you get to share with those in your life who want to be a part of your life what you need. The same way that you listen and they share with you and you run around meeting their needs, you
Yeah.
have a right to take up space with what you need.
I like that. I
Mhm.
like that. So if there's a woman listening and she's saying, or it could be a man as
Mm.
well, and saying, I feel stuck
Yes.
and I don't know what to do to get unstuck, what
Hmm.
would you tell them?
I would say, first of all, that recognition, that awareness is the first step. So don't feel ashamed. We have all been there. Don't feel ashamed. The fact that you recognize that you're stuck is the first step. You recognize that something needs to change. I would say to our women, please do not hesitate to get help. Whether it's first reading a book, a self-help book, looking at a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel with tons of videos around all of these things. Whether it's then taking the step to get more active help, whether you need to go to therapy to unpack some past things, or you need a coach or a community of women like what I have where you will get that support and that guidance. It's okay. But the first step is the awareness. So if you are feeling stuck, I say congratulations
Mhm.
because you have lifted back the veil. You're no longer, you know how there's people we know that they're stuck, but they don't
Yeah.
know it yet.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Mhm.
and we've all been there, right?
Of
No, I'm
course.
not
Mhm.
judging. But yeah, the first step is knowledge, and then it could be a book. It could, you're starting to look at videos, you look at people that really resonate with you, and then hopefully you take the next step. I think we get so much more benefit when we ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I've been through so much of my own self-help and group help and therapy and coaching. I have invested so much in my personal development, and I can see the difference that it's made in my life.
Yeah. And that's an important point. Even as a psychologist, even as therapists, it's important to not just help others, we have to sort of stop, look at ourselves, and continue to really work on ourselves, because that's what's going to help us to grow and to have more insight and to be better women, better mothers, better partners, being able just to have that awareness and doing the work. So I
Yeah.
like what you're telling our audience, because that's important for everyone to be able to do.
Yeah, it's a strength. It's not a weakness at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Dr. Nicole, where do people find you?
You can go to my website, which is drnicolemontero.com. So DrNicoleMontero.com. And you can find my book, you can find a link to my podcast, my YouTube channel, as well as, my services. I have a bunch of blog posts. I'm so into like providing resources and information, and people can start exploring like, oh my gosh, so you can find all of that on my website. You can also go to my YouTube channel, which is, you can just look up Dr. Nicole Montero. You'll find tons of videos and podcast episodes. And
Wonderful.
you can fill out a contact, you can fill out a form on my website if you'd like to find out more about my coaching program or just what you can get by working with me.
Wonderful. And I did forget to ask you one important question.
Uh-huh, yes.
Since this is your love talk, and it's really
Oh,
about how to get to adversity, get to the other side, what do you do when you are going through struggle and you want to keep yourself motivated to be able to be your best self?
yes. I do two things. I go within and I go outside. So sometimes this chair you see me in, sometimes I will just turn off the lights and sit here and take a deep breath when I feel like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I will just sit with myself. Like that's a skill that I just learned over the years. Sometimes the best thing to do is sit still.
Okay.
And then what really helps me a lot, though, especially now when the weather is nice, is getting outside and walking. And
Yeah.
it's on those walks. And sometimes I might have to listen to something, but that's where I get to move my body. So
Mhm.
I'm not just in my head. And those two things really, really help me. And I tend to do those two things before I talk to somebody. Like I have my mom, my friends, my husband. I have different people, but first for me, and everybody's different. I just have to go within and get outside. Those two things help me a lot.
Got it. Are there any words of affirmation that you give yourself to keep going?
I just say, you are enough. I am enough. I know it's simple.
Yeah.
And I used to have these long drawn out affirmations. It's very specific, but this is the one I come back to when I'm feeling, when that little girl in me is triggered or the little parts that feel inadequate. We all go through that. And I just say, I am enough. I am good. I am, I just
Yes.
say all the I ams to
I am.
myself.
I
Hmm.
love it. Thank you. This was so inspirational. I truly appreciate just your wisdom and just the encouragement that whatever we go through, it's okay. We're not alone. We can get
Yeah,
to the other side.
absolutely.
Thank
We've done so much. And
you. Yeah.
we were meant for this moment. I was just thinking, like, wow, we have so many privileges that our ancestors and those before, we can have this conversation. You're where you are, where I'm
Yeah.
where I am. So I know we can get through whatever adversity we're faced with.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Nicole, for being available today and being on this podcast.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nicole, for sharing your wisdom about the importance of having a mindset shift to set boundaries and prioritize self-care. As women, we must remember that taking care of ourselves empowers us to better support our partners, children, and community. Please continue to be a light for women who seek healing and strive to be their best selves. Your dedication to making a difference is truly inspiring. I will leave you with 2 affirmations from my Love Talk card deck. The first is, I put myself first and not last. And the second is, I am respected because I communicate my boundaries. Please remember to visit yourlovetalk.com to purchase the Love Talk affirmation and couples card deck and my book, Mended, Healing Your Heart After a Broken Relationship. To follow me on Instagram or Facebook, please visit Dr. Beverly Booth. If you have enjoyed this episode, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your family and friends. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode today. This is Dr. Beverly from Your Love Talk. Blessings.